Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, the Silver family. We're back once again with Bruno. Guys, listen, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Share this video. As you can see from the topic of this video, what's it like being a father for the first time? What's it like having a child for the first time? I believe what I'm about to tell you, a lot of people who, especially men who have children, can relate with what I'm about to discuss with you guys. Being a father for the first time. Whenever I look at my child's pictures, I just smile. It just makes me smile. When she's not around and I'm going through my phone and I see her pictures, it just brightens my day. But this video isn't about how I feel about my daughter. It's more about the transition that's happened to me in the past 2 years, because she's 2 now. A lot has changed. A lot has changed in the sense of how I see the world, what I think of the world, how I see politics. Because if you were to talk to me about politics 2 years ago, or even 5 years, 10 years ago, I wouldn't know much and I wouldn't really care. Whatever was presented in the news, what was going on around the world, what was going on around in the country, it wasn't a thing that I had constantly thought about. However, after having a child, it's almost impossible to ignore what is going on in the world, what's going on in the country. Because you are in I'm constantly thinking about the safety, not only of my child or my home or my neighborhood, but also the country. I'm always thinking about what is going on in the world, what's going on in the country. I never used to care about the news. I never used to read about policies and laws and what's going on in the country. But now it has become part of me to constantly know what it is that's going on in the country. It's weird. It's just weird. I am in that protective, defensive mode 24/7. 24/7. A great example, I thought it was going to be a phase, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a phase, 6 months in as a father, or 1 year later, I wouldn't be in this state of mind that I am right now. I thought it was going to be a phase, but what really confirmed this new way of thinking, what really confirmed was the news about the grooming gang, right? If I had heard about the grooming gang probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have just brushed it off. However, when you find out that young girls, there are a group of people that are taking advantage of young girls, and you are a father of a young girl, although it didn't happen to your child, although it's not happening around you, just knowing that it's happening in the country that you live in. As a father, you think to yourself, what can I do to protect my child from something like that? Do you speak out? Do you become a politician? What can you do to prevent such thing from happening again in the future? Because being a parent, you have to stop being selfish. You have to stop thinking about yourself. And it's something that just happened to me automatically. It wasn't even an effort thing where now I'm a father now. I now have to change myself. I have to start thinking this way. No, it just automatically just happened where I am. It's like I've got 10 senses now, not even 5 senses no more, 6 senses. It's just 10 senses now. I'm constantly on the lookout where it is my duty now to speak on things that could have an impact on my child in the future. Because I won't always be around. Or if I am around, you know, imagine my daughter 20 years from now, 30 years from now, where she'll sit down with me and ask me, oh, so recently we at university, we were talking about the topic, depending on what subject, whatever subject she's going to study at uni. But let's just paint a picture. You've got a child, you've got a young daughter who goes to university. She goes to university and then they say they're doing health and social care, or I don't know, any subject that relates to what it is that's going on today in society with the grooming gang. She comes back home and sits down with me and says, oh, Dad, do you remember the time? Were you around during the time of the grooming gang? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Like, this was 20 years ago. I remember it was all over the news. It was a big thing at the time. It's just like people who sit with their grandparents talking about World War I or World War II, or great grandparents. World War I was quite a while ago. However, my child sitting down with me, but right now in 2050 or 2040, she's saying to me, Dad, what did you do about that? What did you do around that time when they were passing on these policies and government and policymakers passing new policies that could affect young girls and is having a huge impact in my generation today? What did you do about that? It's like, well, first of all, I wasn't in politics, baby girl. I wasn't part of the government. I couldn't do anything. That is the most degrading or the most rubbish answer anybody with little girls can give their daughter. Even though you're not in the position of power, it's important to speak out, to share, to put a highlight or a light onto this subject that's happening today. You know, it's important to share on your social media, on your platforms. Make people aware of what's going on. Don't sit back and watch the news and feel powerless. You are not in the position of power like the politicians, but you are in the position of power in this day and age. If you've got, in the age of social media, in the age of technology. Yes, daughter, this is what I did. You know, I when I heard the news, I voted for the party that was against this type of behavior. I voted for the party that that wanted to introduce new policies that can protect young girls. I did videos. I shared on my platforms for people to be aware of what it is that's going on out there, for the sake of your present, for the sake of your future. It is the most weird position to be in, as being a father, being a parent, being a mother, being a responsible adult that is looking after this human being. There's only so much you can control. There's only so much you can do. However, being in this protective mode 24/7, it is one of the most satisfying feelings that I could ever experience. I am constantly aware of the external world. I never cared about the news, guys. I never cared about what it is, that who got elected, who's elected, who's the new prime minister, who's the new president. I never cared about that. But now I do care so much for the sake of my child, really. It's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah. Like I said, this video isn't about my feelings for my daughter, but what has happened to me and how I changed as a person after becoming a parent. Guys, thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment.